If, then, or do statements, they are a part of do statements. If the expression is true, then do statements will execute every statement that is between do and end. If, then, or do statements ends with an end statement. Following that, if the first condition has not been met, it will look into the next condition. Then, if that condition is also not met, it will simply just execute everything that is in else. So every code that is between do and end is executed if the condition is being met. Let us head over to SAS to look at an example. If, then, do statements. So these statements are part of do statements. We will go deeper with do statements when we are looking into do loops. But these statements, based on a condition, they execute every such step that exists between do and end. Let us demonstrate that by looking into this data, which contains the ages of students. So let's see how our data looks like. So run that. Now, we can observe from this data that we have students that have different ages. So for demonstration purposes, let's say we want to have two tables for those students that are over 15 years and for those students that are under 15. So let's do that. So this is SAS data step. We have create two tables and set statements. Which data set to use is age. Following is we want to have two group of students, ones that are over 15 and the others that are under 15. So we say if age is greater or equals to 15, then do. Everything that you write here will be executed if the age of a student is greater or equals to 15 years. So let's say we only want to output that student to each table that we named over 15. And then we end. Every do statements ends with an end. So if that is not the case, we can have else do. So these are all the students that are under 15 years. So say under 15 and end. And now let's see how both these data sets looks like. For 15 under 15. Run it. And this is how this data set looks like. So previously, we did the grade levels of students using if, else if, and else statements. Now, let us look into how we can do that using if, then do statements. So first, we use data. We want to have a data set that has A students, B students, and also C students. We are going to be using marks. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, then change a few things. So if the test score is greater or equals to 80, then do. We want to set the level of students to be A, and we want to have a separate data set that only contains A students. Not forgetting that every do is followed by end. That's the end. Else, if this is the condition, then do this. Set the level, the grade level of student to be B, and output that into this table. And else, do set the level of student, grade level of student, and end. And that. And let's see how all this data set looks like. A students is run. And so we can observe from the output that we now have 3 data sets for A student, B student, and C students. Apologies for the noise behind.